Okay, let's be real. This week was intense, but I wouldn't change a thing because it's easily been one of the most explosive, opportunity-packed weeks we've seen in the markets all year. We had Bitcoin hit another all-time high before passing the baton to XRP. We had Ethereum launch whilst Bitcoin took a seat in the bleachers, and on top of that, the 3 US crypto bills just passed. Meanwhile, in TTC, we've been hunting setup after setup, and the community has been absolutely printing. So if you've been feeling like the market's been running without you, don't worry. I'm breaking down every key move and showing you how the model kept us ahead of it all. Hi, my name is Janet and this is Trade Travel Chill. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Quick reminder, this Friday wrap up is for educational purposes. I'm not here to tell you where to enter and exit right now, but with that being said, let's get into it. Before the week even begins, we have Jarrid, our macroeconomic expert, give us a sharp reminder of everything we had lined up. Inflation data, macroeconomic releases, and most importantly, political talk heating up around US crypto legislation. So let's take it back to the weekend. Over the weekend, we had a classic weekend trap, similar to last week's weekend move. With price and consolidation, open interest relatively flat, and the volume flat, this gives us the heads up that market makers need to bait retail into opening new positions by pushing price out of the range. Sure enough, early Sunday we see price start to move out of the range, sending open interest rising, whilst at the same time setting a new all-time high around 123,000. Now, anyone not trading with intention probably thought, here we go again, straight to the moon, it's never going to stop. But if you've been in TTC for a while, you already knew to be cautious as it is false move week beginning. And just to prove we weren't the only ones seeing it, Annii dropped her weekly YouTube video on Sunday right as that trap was unfolding. She walked through the setup and made it crystal clear what to watch for. If you tuned in, you were more than ready for what came next. From here, Monday starts, and right away the model gives us a multi-session M formation and our drop level 1 before going into a boardroom, or if you're not a part of TTC, consolidation above the high of the week. Pedro's video on Monday added fuel to the fire, where he covered the potential for a rate cut, broke down the 3 crypto bills that were in motion, and explained what it could mean for crypto. In a nutshell, he said, if the bill passes, it'll mean that institutions can enter legally, banks can offer crypto services, and companies can use stablecoins for payment. It would be the foundation for mainstream adoption. He then discusses Dino coins and why they are the safest bet. Through Tuesday, we see a drop level 2 on BTC and another live stream from Annii where she explained if we are to follow the model we trade, then we should get a drop level 3, which we eventually got. During this live stream, Annii also did a deep dive on some of the alts, covering Sui, Sol, and more, essentially doing the homework for you, so all you needed to do was hunt the entry on the lower time frame. So with 3 drops done, we see a single session W formation, which then starts the slow grind back up to retest the high of the week. Now normally that'd be our focus, but on this day, Bitcoin was not the star. Whilst Bitcoin was napping, we see ETH take off and XRP make new all-time highs. So let's break this down in more detail because this played a massive role in how the rest of the week unfolded. During last week's price action over Thursday and Friday, we seen that delta get as high as 31.87 billion to the long. Now when the delta starts to climb over 20 billion, this is our sign to start looking for reversals if it lines up with the model we trade. With the delta being at 48.83 billion to the long, this means there is 48 billion worth of long positions at risk should price make a sharp reversal. The highest I've ever seen the delta get to is around 56 billion, and this is when the FTX debacle happened, where we've seen price drop quickly to 15k. That essentially put in our bull market low. Now, when the delta is heavily skewed to one side, a few things can happen. Most people expect a large liquidation move, a fast drop designed to wipe out over leveraged long positions and reset the imbalance. That's one option. But the other is consolidation. And what happens is that traders start closing their positions on their own, or the high leverage crowd gets slowly liquidated. That essentially brings the delta back to neutral. Now, myself and Cajun Spice, who was another cabin crew member, were both on the same page, and we were both leaning toward consolidation, especially on the higher time frame. This is my update from Tuesday. From here, I'm leaning towards BTC going into a 4-hour boardroom that could keep us here all week. If this happens, then it is good for alt. And this simply comes straight back to the model we trade. So let's walk through it quickly. We start with a typical weekend trap, which is just sideways consolidation. Then we get a W formation, followed by 3 levels of rise, then a midweek reversal pattern, ideally lining up with a news event, and from there 3 levels of drop back in the weekend trap. That's our core model, and it plays out across all time frames. And here's the important part. In between each rise or drop, price either retraces, goes into consolidation. So if we look at the 4-hour time frame and go back to our last peak formation low, we have a rise level 1 and a rise level 2. After our rise level 1, you can see price went into consolidation before we got that rise level 2, which means from here we're expecting either a retrace or price goes into consolidation once again before rise level 3. On Monday, we were sitting at 48 billion to the longs. By Wednesday, 2.7 billion to the short. So now it is basically neutral, no more imbalance, and funding rates have been totally manageable. So there's no longer any need for a dramatic liquidation move to the downside. The pressure was gone, and that's when we saw the shift. Ethereum took off and XRP started printing new highs too. That was the clear sign that we were seeing a dominance shift. So let me break that down really simply. If you look at this cheat sheet here, you'll see when Bitcoin dominance decreases, I'm in the way, but it says decreases, whilst Bitcoin price goes sideways or into consolidation, our altcoins increase. So that gives our altcoins room to move. And that's exactly what played out. It's a really positive sign because when we look at the path to alt season, it always starts with BTC, then it flows into Ethereum, then large cap, then the rest of the market. So when we check the dominances, we can see that Bitcoin dominance, I'm on a daily chart, but this has absolutely floored to the downside. When we look at USDT dominance, that's also making a move to the downside. And these two here are alts, but this is the one I want to pay attention to. We see ETH dominance break out of that consolidation, break the 200 EMA, and is now making a move to the upside. Essentially meaning the dominance has shifted out of Bitcoin into Ethereum. When we look at the ETH BTC chart, again, I am on the daily time frame. It's the same thing. We see ETH BTC break out of that consolidation, break the 200 EMA, and make a run to the upside. And what this chart tells us is you were better off trading Ethereum over BTC. And honestly, if you want to go deeper into that chart, check out Ben Cowan's latest video. He's been tracking the ETH BTC chart for a long time and waiting for this one. In his words, ETH finally went home. Now, while all of that's playing out on the chart, Jarrid dropped a macro blog this week that really zooms out, and honestly, it explains why crypto might be heating up right now. It's based on a big interview with Lynn Alden, and here's the simple version. We're now in what she calls a run it hot economy, meaning the government's spending so much money that it's overpowering the effects of interest rate hikes. The old playbook where the Fed raises rates to slow things down, it doesn't work anymore. In fact, raising rates might actually increase inflation because the government has to pay more interest, which sends more money into the economy. So Lynn's saying that in this kind of setup where inflation is sticky and the system is overloaded, assets that can't be printed are the winners. That's Bitcoin and that's gold. And with Trump's team now backing Bitcoin, energy inflation lurking in the background, and deficits here to stay, we might be stepping into a macro environment where Bitcoin becomes a safe haven again. So if you've been wondering why Bitcoin is holding up, even with rate pressure, this is your answer. And if this momentum keeps building, altcoins might just follow. If you need an exchange to slay your trades on, consider checking out Bitunix. It is non-KYC, no VPN, so you'll be able to get access to this one worldwide. They offer spot, and futures trading, and they have an earn section which allows you to stake your crypto to earn more crypto. By using the link in the description below, you'll get a 20% trading fee rebate on all of your trades for life. This allows you to keep more of the profit. So create your very own account by using the link in the description below to take advantage of that 20% fee rebate offer. Now Wednesday rolls round and ETH is in full breakout mode, whilst Bitcoin is still stalling, which is exactly what we hoped for, so it is time to go hunt some alts. And this is where we see the team working overtime. Cajun Spice posted his alpha setups like clockwork, with all of these trades hitting their take profits. We had Kevin, who was part of our trade alert team, play a trade on DOT. I posted my own analysis on Doge, breaking it down from the daily time frame all the way down to the 15-minute time frame, and giving everyone the heads up on the areas of interest to watch in anticipation of a move to the upside into 50% of this daily vector candle. And you can see here that price held in my area of interest and made that move up into 50% of that daily vector. Another trade idea on Litecoin: wait for a clean break of the high of the day, then look for a retest. Use the current green vector candle as your area of interest to look for bullish candles upon the retest. Target the 3-month liquidity around 103.43. So this is the vector candle here. Let's go have a quick look at the chart. At the time of posting that setup, the high of the day was here. This was the green vector candle that I posted that setup on, and I said to wait for a break of the high of the day and then for price to come back and give us a retest, ideally in this green vector zone. So we finally broke out, created a higher high, came back to retest, bullish candlestick pattern here, giving you a 2-to-1 trade up into the 3-month liquidity sitting at 103.43. Now I took profit on my Litecoin trade because I had gotten in earlier. However, I did an update to the community this morning saying that there were no stopping volume candles here or reversal patterns, and if they wanted to hold this further they could, but I myself was realizing the profits. So if they are still holding on to this one, nice one, because that ended up being a 5-to-1 trade. We had Daniel put out a trade alert on Bitcoin as well as MACD, Cajun Spice with Annii, XRP, HBAR, Annii with a trade alert on CRV, hitting take profit, nice one. And we also see Annii put a trade alert out on Ethereum whilst Ethereum was here. So when we look at his trade setup, this is the green vector candle here. You can see there was many bullish candlestick patterns that you could have taken an entry on. One of his targets was 50% of this big daily area of interest, with his final target being at 35.75. That's a nice 5-to-1 trade. And inside our pro results channel, we see Annii with her update, a 40-to-1 trade on HBAR. The trade was taken on the 2nd of July as a midweek reversal trade. And when you look at that, man, that is a clean setup. Following on from that, we have MACD with a massive 34-to-1 risk to reward trade on XRP, as well as Cajun Spice with his setup on Res. He added to his position, giving him a massive risk to reward trade as well. So there has been wins all across the board. And honestly, it's one thing to slay trades and make money on your own, but it's a whole different vibe when everyone's eating. That's what makes this week feels so good. Hunting these setups, dropping the alerts, and seeing the whole community catch the move while the market's been running hot, that's a flex. Moving on, we had Pedro keep us up to date with another YouTube video where he talks about the 3 crypto bills as they were unfolding.
But at this point, Trump so far has said that he still wants that stablecoin bill to come to the House this week, which means that all 3 need to go separately.
Drama. Huge drama.
In this video, he mentioned there's a slim chance that the bills may not pass. But honestly, he didn't think it'd derail the bull run. It'd be a hit for crypto, sure, but as he put it, people just don't care. And he wasn't wrong, because by Thursday US session, the bill had actually passed. So let's circle back to price action and how the model played out, but on Ethereum, because with Bitcoin going sideways, there's not much else for me to talk about when the action's not there. So I'm going to walk you through Ethereum and show you how the model still played out. So from the weekend trap, it's similar to BTC, but where the difference is in Ethereum is when price came back over Monday, Tuesday, it created a higher low compared to this low. And if we look at this, this is a W formed at the 200 200 EMA, which is a type of reset. So on Ethereum, we have that higher low. And when we look at BTCs, this is where it differs. Yes, we have this W formation. Yes, we have the move to the upside. Yes, we have the move to the downside. But we created a low below this. Whereas with Ethereum, we got that higher low. So now I'm going to show you this on the 1 hour time frame. From the 15-minute W at the 200 EMA, it's essentially just a retest of the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame. When we go back to the low of the week when price started to break out, Ethereum's price action has been super bullish because we had been holding the 10 and 20 EMA during this whole move to the upside. And this had been the first time we had been back to retest the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame. So from that small W identified on the 15-minute time frame, we have a rise level 1, price then came back, created a higher low, and set us into a 3-day swing to the upside. Through here we see rise level 2, and now what looks to be our rise level 3. So if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for a deeper pullback or retracement before jumping in, you've probably noticed something. Those pullbacks just haven't been happening. Instead of clean retracement, price has been consolidating in 15-minute boardrooms before taking off again. That's the behavior shift we see when markets start to go parabolic. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect entry and price just keeps flying without you, the next piece that I'm about to say is worth its weight in gold. Inside TTC, Annii has a parabolic phase video using the last 2 bull markets as examples and walking through how to catch mid-pump entries using our model on the 15-minute chart. Because let's be real, in a parabolic phase, you're not always going to get a textbook retracement. The model still plays out, but it moves differently. If you want to stay in sync with those shifts, this video is one to watch. And look, if you're not already in TTC, consider grabbing yourself a membership. We have 2 membership options to choose from. There's a 48-hour money back guarantee, 0 pressure and all upside. And honestly, from all of the trade alerts and setups we've shared this week inside Discord or through Annii and Pedro's YouTube updates alone, it's almost as if you were learning for free. So what have you got to lose? We're not done. Now, Pedro's been on this for months. XRP, XLM, HBAR, CRV. He wasn't throwing names. He was giving people time to plan. And now all of those coins that he's been talking about have finally launched. If you look at all of these videos here, you'll notice that they all have something in common. There is one crypto that just seems to be in every thumbnail, and that one is XRP. So if you didn't manage to get an entry on XRP, XLM, HBAR, Solana, Ethereum, then maybe you should pay more attention to this guy, because XRP has just set a new all-time high. And you know what? I just want to give a shout out to the XRP army, because for about 2 years, price did absolutely nothing, but the XRP army stayed strong. We've seen XRP get this little move to the upside where we see the XRP army go crazy before price then went back into consolidation. But now look, like price has taken off. So for all of the XRP army, shout out to you guys for hanging in there and staying strong. I'm sure your spot holdings are looking really good at the moment. So I myself managed to get a good entry on XRP and XLM before this big breakout happened, and I took both of those trades on low leverage coin margin, which essentially means my profits are realized in the actual asset, not USDT. So as price is going up, not only am I stacking more of the asset, which is XRP and XLM, the asset's price itself has also increased. For example, instead of buying 100 XRP at $2.20, I have accumulated and made XRP as price has moved up. So let's say I have 100 XRP from this trade. Each XRP coin that I have made or accumulated in this trade is now worth $3.48. And the same goes for XLM. I managed to catch this one before the big breakout happened. It is also low leverage coin margined, meaning I accumulate more of the asset as it is going up, and that is currently sitting at a 72-to-1 trade. I'm looking to add into this position, so I'm waiting for a retracement or a boardroom in anticipation that we reach this high here. So, shout out to Pedro for keeping us in the loop. Now, if you're still not convinced and you need more proof, just look at our community. They have absolutely been slaying. I have never seen the Humble Brags channel pumping like this. Literally everyone has caught a trade this week, and like I said last week, it makes me so happy to see the whole community eating. We've got NJ calling trades, MACD, the community catching their own setup without the help of us or our trade alerts team. We have Scotty with XRP, Crystal with XRP. Everyone has absolutely been slaying XRP this week. Mooding, altcoin again, Vet, Virtual. Oh yeah, I posted that one this week, didn't I? Doge and MACD slaying on all of the meme coins. And if that wasn't enough and you need more, just look at how this week unfolded. Bitcoin gave us another typical weekend trap. False move week beginning, multi-session M formation, 3 level drops. The model nailed it yet again. Then we see the dominances shift. We see ETH dominance make a run to the upside, as well as ETH BTC, finally giving Ethereum a chance in the spotlight. You see the model play out here with the 3 level rises, and you see all of the trade setups that our team and the community have been taking. We have the 3 bills paths, which is a big win and lays the macro foundation for crypto. The Discord is buzzing, and not just from wins, but from people showing up and calling it live. If you're sitting in profit right now, don't leave it up to chance. Bring your stop loss to break even, secure some partials and lock something in. Because until you take something off the table, it's just unrealized potential. The only time you actually bank money is when you take it. And that's what separates confidence from hope. Knowing when to collect, not just enter. So stay tuned, because Annie's got a new video coming out in a couple of days where she's mapping out the next phase in detail, especially if this parabolic behavior continues.